Hi, I'm Amanda, and welcome to the Hot Plate. Today we're going to be getting steamy in the kitchen making beef stew. Beef stew is one of my favorites. It's a comforting, slow-cooked classic that everyone has their own version of. Ours features red wine and is a great way to showcase what cheap cuts of meat are all about. To kick things off, we need to actually pat our meat dry. So what we have here is our beef stewing cubes. They're all cut into about 1.5 inch pieces. We want them to be meaty enough that when we slow cook them, they get nice and tender. So we're gonna grab a piece. We've got our paper towel, and we're just gonna lightly pat it dry. And this just makes sure that when we put it onto our hot oil and we start to sear the meat so that it gets a nice golden crust, that it's not going to be releasing any other juices or potentially start to steam. Now that our meat's all patted dry, we're going to season it up. Make sure you've got it seasoned on all sides. The point is not to make the meat taste salty, it's just to enhance the flavor. Now that we've got our meat all seasoned up, we're going to be moving over to the stove. I'm going to be giving you all the steps from there. Add a 1/4 cup of olive oil to a heavy bottom pot. Increase the heat to medium-high and bring the oil up to a temperature so that it's hot but not smoking. We're going to sear the meat in batches to avoid any of it from steaming. So pick 4 to 6 pieces at a time and gently move it around on the olive oil to prevent any sticking. We're going to sear it until it's golden on that side and then golden on all the others. It should take between 3 to 5 minutes aside for this to happen. After one batch is seared, we're going to move it aside to a separate plate and continue searing in batches until it's done. This is a really simple red wine stew, but one of my favorite things to use are actually pearl onions or cipollini onions. And what they look like are these. They're small and usually sold in bags, and they're pretty fun because they get really soft, molten-y and sweet in the stew without losing their flavor or disintegrating. We want to use a sharp paring knife, and what we're going to do is remove the root and then the tip. We're then going to slice down just a little bit so that we cut into the first layer, and we're going to peel back that skin. The other base flavor that we're going to be using are carrots. They're nice and sweet, and they add that little bit of texture that you would often get with potatoes. Now this is a potato-less stew, so we've got 3 carrots that are going to be going into this. We're going to start by grabbing our peeler, and we're going to be peeling our carrots, and we're going to remove the tips. So we're going to be cutting the carrot in half, and on the thicker end, we're going to be having it again, and then cutting it into 1-inch pieces. Next ingredient, we're going to smash and mince our garlic. Now here we have 2 cloves. To give this dish a little bit more earthiness, one of my favorite ingredients are actually mushrooms. So we're going to be using cremini mushrooms, which look like this. They're also called baby bellas. And they usually come with a little bit of grit on them. They're mostly cultured now. So we're going to take a damp paper towel, you can also use a damp cloth, and we're going to go ahead and just give them a little bit of a brush along the top. We're going to be taking off the stems. Now this is really easy because they just pop right off. Last step is just cutting them in half. We want to keep them all around the same size, so if you have any that are a little bit bigger, feel free to cut them into a 1/4. Now that we have all of our ingredients prepped, we're going to be moving over to our stove, and I'll be giving you the rest of the steps from there. Using the leftover olive oil from searing our beef, we're going to be turning the heat down to medium. We're going to be adding our pearl onions and our carrots, and we're going to be stirring for 5 to 8 minutes until it gets nice, soft, and translucent. Then add your minced garlic and stir for another minute until it becomes fragrant. We're going to be adding our tomato paste, then we're going to be adding our 2 sprigs of fresh thyme and our 1 sprig of fresh rosemary. To that we're going to be adding our 1.5 cups of red wine, and we're going to stir until the red wine has reduced by about a 1/4, just a little bit, which means that you're going to be stirring for about 10 minutes. Then we're going to be adding our 1.5 cups of beef broth, as well as our stewing cubes, back into the pot. Season it up with a little bit of salt and pepper. We're going to bring it up to a boil and then back down to a simmer. If you have a pot that is able to go into the oven, then preheat the oven to 275 degrees Fahrenheit. Make sure that you cover the stew tightly before adding it to the oven. And if not, then we're going to leave it on the stove over a light simmer. After 1.5 hours, we're going to be adding our mushrooms. It's been 20 minutes since we put in our mushrooms. Now we're going to be adding our 1/2 cup of frozen peas. 10 more minutes and we're going to be ready to eat. I poured myself a bowl of the stew. It's just fresh out of the oven and boiling hot. I am so excited. Get to taste it. I cannot believe that such a cheap cut of meat that was so tough to begin with can get that tender just by slow cooking it. This is one of my favorite things about winter time. Thanks so much for watching The Hot Plate, guys. Make sure to check out this and all of our other episodes at thehotplate.net, and make sure to check for updates on our Facebook page, facebook.com/thehotplate.